Oh, you hanging out right. Hanging out right. Oh, you hanging out right. I know hanging out right. Oh, you hanging out right. Hanging out right. I've been around Victor for many years now, and I've always loved the way you explain anything that you said. Both of us, or all four of us, would not have made money if we didn't have the kind of character that we have in the heart. You know, I think a lot about Vicky, your mom. Your mom was close to being like my mom, because every time she opened her mouth, she said something that had nothing to do with money. Nothing to do with money. It was always like you definitely, since we've been talking here for an hour, you know, I just hear Dorothy. I just hear her. I just hear her. And my mother was similar. So my mother died young. My mother used to always say things like that it's in your heart. You got to look at the way things are. You got to be this way on this gig, and you got to be this way on that gig. You got to be this way on that gig. And like I have given a whole lot to a lot of people without money. It never bothered me, because when I did it, I didn't need it. I didn't need the money. When I say I didn't need the money, I didn't need it to pay a bill or to pay my mortgage or anything like, or my car note or anything like that. So you two guys, and like John and I have been together for years, and hearing what you're saying needs to be written. It needs to be talked about. It needs to be in a book, because these young people, I'm trying not to curse here. Every now and then you got to curse.
Real life. It's real life sometimes.
But these young people do not understand. It ain't about you. It's about the team and the love for being on the team. When I look at the sports, the guys that are playing sports that are just, I'll just say they're just asses, because their ego is in front of what they're doing, you know, how they look and who, you know, John and I have talked a whole lot about a lot of nonsense that goes on about the generation that's going on now. They don't even have to have talent. All they have to have is a big ego, and somebody will believe it. If you just speak it enough, they'll believe it. But the heart is not there. You can hear it in the music. You can hear it in the music. You know, so in talking about hearing both Victor and Jonathan talk about how they feel, I tell you, I'm right there with you. And John and I have been that way ever since we've been together as a team. And we talk about that side of what has to go on. And we've been talking about money for 5-6 years, John.
Yeah.
It is important, but then again, there's another side to it, that you have to have a position in your mindset about why are we doing this? I'm doing this because everything I've done comes through me. It came through me. I ain't did nothing.
That's what I feel. I step out the way, let God do his thing.
I was just ready to do it. Of course, I had to train, I had to practice to get my skills, but I didn't think of nothing. You know, at Berkeley, Victor asked me about the rock steady, and I'm pretty sure I said something like, I don't know. I don't know. I know what went down and how it went down, but everything came through me. Why did I do this? John and I were talking about the last interview I did. They were talking about Aretha. Why I did this and how did I do this, and did my gospel training do this, and questions that don't make sense. Of course we are who we are because of where we came from and what we did. But for me, I've always loved to play. I've loved to play that bass, I tell you, and I never had anything. I read well, you know, I can improvise well. I get along with people. There have been times where I didn't get along with somebody where I had to walk away, you know, but sometimes you got to walk away with love. Well, I can't say that, because sometimes you walk away with anger. because of the way certain things went down. We were talking about Bobby Womack, my homeboy. He just did not want to pay double scale at a time where everybody was paying me double scale. Um, and I knew he had records, he was popular, but he said, well, I never charged anybody double scale. I said, Bobby, that's you. But you asked me what I wanted. The guy that recommended me to you told you that I was a part of Hollywood's top musicians at the time for recording. Everybody was paying me double scale. Now I knew a lot about Bobby Womack. He's a pain in the butt. Or he was a pain in the butt. That doesn't matter. It's just that when he asked me, I told him, and he went off into a tangent trying to put me in my place. And so I didn't do the gig, mainly because of the way he talked to me. And that's cool. I walked off a lot of gigs where I could have used the money, but sometimes you just can't play angrily. You can't be angry when you play. You got to be playing because you kind of like it, even if you're working for somebody you don't like, or if you're working for somebody that don't like you for whatever the reason is. It's very interesting hearing both you guys comment on why you play. I play because I'm in love with music. And I'm in love with playing that bass. I have played this since September, but I look at it every day. And I will pick it up. So I really appreciate, Jonathan, your comment. Victor, you know how I feel about your comments.
Thank you. Chuck. You know how we feel about you. Yes. Thank you.
So, John, everybody's been doing some talking except you.
I'm just listening, man. I'm trying to take it all in. Go ahead.
If you don't mind, I'll throw in another side of it also. One of the reasons that, and you comment on this if you want, one of the reasons that we can talk about not caring so much about money, I think, is because it's always been there for us for whatever reason when we played. Well, and maybe not always our whole lives, but now it is. But for example, I have a good friend, someone Chuck, and you may know him, Jonathan, but a good friend of mine. And I'll go ahead and say his name because what he did, I think, was very honorable. A good drummer friend of mine named Dorico Watson.
Yeah,
who I've worked with for many, many years. I met him as he was a high school teacher. I got him on some gigs. He moved to Nashville. He's been playing with different people, was teaching at the school, but COVID, the quarantine hit, and all of a sudden all his gigs gone. Now he's got 3 kids. He needs to make money. So he went and got a job at Amazon right away, put in an application, so as we still have to do what is necessary to make money. So, it's easy for me to sit here and say, well, money's not so important, but it really is because I got kids, I got family. I don't want to be homeless. So to live on this planet in society, we do need money. But it goes back to what my mom always said, just do what's right. And as much as I love to play music, if music wasn't providing the income, I'd probably choose to do something else to make the money. It doesn't mean I stopped playing music. And that's exactly what Dorico did for a while. He stopped playing. He didn't have his gigs. So he got a job at Amazon. So he's working there for a few months. And then his wife, I don't remember whatever reason, Dorico convinced his wife to apply for a job at Amazon. And I don't know what she does, but all of a sudden the president of Amazon's on the phone with her. Like, we need you in Seattle, right? Here's money, move. Dorico said he knew it was serious when the money was in the account for them to load up everything and move to Seattle. Now they live in Seattle.
That's so cool.
And and she was on Zoom with her team. Here's your team that, so. And I had a good talk with Dorico because he didn't want me to hear about it on social media. I'm always quoting my mom. I said, that's what my mom says. You just do what's right. You don't have to know why. You know, you knew you had a family to take care of, and what you love to do wasn't going to do it at the moment. I love music, but music is hard to pay the bills right now. So sometimes you have to do something else, or maybe you don't have to, but it might be the smart thing.
Yeah.
And Dorico did the smart thing and got rewarded for it, you know? And to me, that just shows, man, if you treat life right, life will treat you right. You don't have to know why.
Oh yeah. My kids, all five of them, I've always told them, the universe is going to take care of you if you. Now I didn't say if you do the right thing, but the universe will take care of you if you believe that. If you're a good person and you're doing things for the right reason, you will be taken care of. Sometimes you can't do what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
I, I think all four of us are lucky to be able to play music.
Yes.
You know, like my career has been great. You know, because I love music, and it pays me back. Like my dog, I love that dog, and like when we put him down, I was at camp,
Yeah.
and, they told me they had to put him down. He had cancer, and I cried like a baby.
Yeah.
Uh, Divinity walked with me for a second when she saw me crying. You know, it's kind of hard for a grown man to cry, I thought, but I've cried a lot. I've been through the meal of crying.
Yeah.
So I'm not ashamed to cry anymore. But I love that dog, and that dog gave me so much love, like my wife and my kids. You know, because I love them, and they give it back. Same with music, they give it back. Um, but it's kind of hard to tell your kids that. You can tell them that, but they have to grow into realizing that if you love what you're doing and it ain't working, you got to do something else if you have responsibilities.
Mm-hmm.
My father told me before he died, he said, you can have as many kids as you want if you can afford them. And if you can afford them, that means that what you're doing to give to them, which is money, you know, paying the mortgage, you know, paying what you got to do while they're coming up, you know, you do that because you love to take care of your babies. They're yours. Well, they don't belong. Well, they're yours only because they came through you, but they're not yours. But you got to take care of them until they can do it themselves. And if they can follow your example, you got to do what you got to do with a smile.
Mm.
Like my mother said, son, you are a very, very blessed person. You get a chance to work and make money at something that you love to do. Now I've had jobs other than playing the bass. I worked in the garment district in New York, you know, for a while. I busted dishes for a while, but you got to keep yourself clean. You got to do what you got to do. But I did it with a smile on my face. I think I'm saying that now. Sometimes you got to go down to the garment district, and in the summertime in New York, it's brutal.
Yeah.
Pushing them carts, you know, pushing them carts down in the garment district. However, I never had a bad day because this music was always in my mind,
Mm-hmm.
always in my mind. And a few months go by, and I get a gig. I get enough. I get enough money making on one or two gigs to where I don't have to go down there anymore. Which I made that mistake a couple of times, you know, because gigs don't come regular until you become a regular entity in some band doing something like that. But what uh, what we've been talking about needs to be published so that young people can kind of understand whether they follow suit or not. That if you're a musician, you have to look at money. You have to look at taking care of yourself because sometimes it ain't always there. It ain't gonna always be there. Because when we show up, I believe this. I'm not trying to, this is not my ego talking. But when I show up, my character shows immediately. I think I want my character to show. Um, I want people to be free with me, to understand. You want me to read it? I'll read it. You want me to make it up? I can make it up. If you want me to improvise on what you got, so in working with Quincy and with especially with Quincy, very smart man. He never wrote one note for me to play. And I was in his band for 3 years and did all his films for 2 or 3 years. You know, I had no problem with it at all. He trusts maybe through me. Now, he's had a lot of bass players since me and before me. But the thing about that, even with Aretha, when I show up, I want people to understand that I'm here to play because it's you. I'm here to play because it's you. With Quincy, I don't care what people say about him. If you talk negative about Quincy, you got to fight with me. You know, if you want to talk negative about Aretha, number one, you should be talking negative about her. It's none of your business what you heard or what you think it is. So when you start talking about negative about James Jamerson, you got to deal with me. Because your character and your personality and your social ability, along with your political ability, sometimes it ain't gonna be the way you want it to be. You know, because of music, like I said earlier, in New York, I would much rather play for nothing than sit on the stoop like everybody else playing my bass, which is hard to hear if you're sitting outside on the stoop, you know. But I would rather play with you or to play because I love to play. And when I go there, I'm not demanding anything. All I want to know is be as clear as you can. Donald Fagen and Walter Becker, people, when they start talking negative about them, I have to stop them. I have to stop them because you do not understand. I was a part of a lot of what they did that was successful. And they treated me well and they knew they could get along with me. I'll play it, which I have told everybody, I'll play this song, I'll overdub it as long as you want me to. Mm-hmm. Because when I go home, the wife is happy, the dog is happy, the bank is happy. And I like the music. Even if I have to play this part over and over and over and over, it doesn't matter. Now, I don't expect everybody to be like me because, you know, that's almost impossible, except that it is important to think about it and to first walk into it with love and wanting to do it, as opposed to with the ego, wanting to be seen.
Yeah.
John, you ain't saying nothing. See, y'all may not know this, but John works his butt off. Has been doing it for years. And what the people that he works for, what they ask him to do, I don't think I would do it, John. but you do it because you're a good musician. You know, very, very well. You're very, very good.
Thank you.
I can tell you love it. You play bass, you play guitar, you play drums. Yeah. You also play keyboards, chords with your left hand.
Oh, yeah.
Never forget that. So I know you love music, as you couldn't, and you're an ex-trumpet player.
Yeah, true.
You know, so like, I know that you love music, and I've always enjoyed playing music with you.
Thank you, brother. Likewise.
And I know that some of the stuff that you've done, you had to do because you're making money. Because I've heard you complain a lot.
Yeah. I don't know how to do anything else, man. So it's a good thing that they pay me, because otherwise I'd be in trouble. No, I'm just thinking about my own trajectory. You know, I don't know how much you guys know, but you know, I was born and raised in the South Bronx, and my parents are Puerto Rican. You know, so in the late '60s, mid '60s, excuse me. So. But between 1970 and 1980, in the South Bronx, 30,000 buildings burned down in that 10-year period. They called it the Decade of Fire. And so, you know, I grew up around extreme poverty and violence and pimps and hookers and gangs and just the whole thing that you could imagine. It was like growing up in Beirut, you know. But I never felt poor. No one ever told us, you know. I was never told you're poor. and I was never given any like limitations. My mom and dad, because this was, we're talking about parents, and my grandfather was a Pentecostal pastor, you know. We were never told that we were limited or defined by our circumstances. As a matter of fact, because you had talent, you actually have a key to get out and change your life and do something different. And it just blows me away, you know, high school of music and art, you know, and all the opportunities that I had growing up in New York. If it weren't for music, who knows if I would be dead right now or in jail or whatever. I mean, I can't even, it's like I can't even imagine what my life would have been like. But I do know that because I had parents that encouraged me, and I had pastors that encouraged me, and I had teachers in school that recognized talent, and they encouraged me. You know, I didn't think that I was limited. Like, that's it. This is where I'm going to be my whole life. I always, in my head and in my heart, thought, I'm going to see the world. I'm going to play for great people. I'm going to play with great people. And it happened. But I never want to forget where I came from, because not everybody gets that kind of support. Not everybody gets that kind of love where they're told you have value, and all these experiences that you're having are going to one day inform what you do for a living. It's going to be heard in your music. And what even makes it even weirder, being a Puerto Rican and, you know, having a background in, you know, funk and jazz and Latin music and, you know, the city of New York, you know, that sound. If you would have told me I'd be playing Texas Country Music Hall of Fame band, I would have said you crazy. But obviously, like something to Jonathan you were just mentioning, obviously there's something in my soul that's heard and felt when I play that music that resonates with these folks and breaks down all these kind of social and political barriers. There's something so powerful in the music, no matter what. It's undeniable. There's, like you said, you can't scramble that language. Mm-mm. It cuts through all the BS. It cuts through all the hatred. It cuts through all the misunderstanding. And honestly, when I look at the state of the country and with the pandemic and with the political climate, it's really up to us musicians, I think, to sort of peel back the curtain and show some truth and show some beauty and show some goodness, you know? And one thing about music to me too is the more it's consumed, unlike most other products in the world, the more it's consumed, the more valuable it becomes. It's not like a can of Coke or a car. You know, the more I drive my car, it depreciates. The more I use my equipment, it depreciates. But the more my music is played, like Jonathan said, the more valuable it gets. The more I play with people, the more valuable it gets. What I'm looking at today, from my own perspective, right now I'm working on. I'm a student at MIT online, right, and looking at how to develop AI strategies for business, artificial intelligence strategies. And what I'm seeing for us as musicians going forward is we have opportunity here because of this pandemic and because of the climate, because of all these things. Every time there's disruption, that means there's an opportunity. And if we're smart and our intent is right and we do it in love, we have an opportunity to change the game. And the music industry to me is always slow to change because the status quo is working for them. So they don't necessarily want to see anything change because it's working for them. But I see opportunities ahead that we as musicians, I think, are facing a new gold rush. I really do believe we're gonna be able to make more money than we ever imagined if we get involved in the structure, in the putting it together. We got, just like the music industry was late in realizing what MP3s meant, what was the implication of an MP3? They were lost. They were still trying to hold on to the CD and the cassettes and all that. And Steve Jobs came in and said, look, this is how we're going to do it. 99 cents a download. You're in or you're not in. But here's the platform. This is the way it's going to be. He had to tell the music industry, this is how it's going to be. And it shaped and redefined the industry for the last 20 years or whatever. But now we have new stuff coming up. Blockchain technology, artificial intelligence, cryptocurrencies, like all these things that are actually in the hands of a musician, create opportunities to make more money and create more wealth than we ever imagined. And so this is what I wanted to say to the world. You know, I got 3 of the greatest musicians with me here that I couldn't even, I mean, this is like, pinch me, man. I'm still, you know, it feels surreal to talk to you cats. But, you know, being with you guys creates an opportunity, I think, and a platform to speak to this generation and the next one coming, to say, you can make a serious change in this world. And the opportunity is here, instead of being negative about it, because we already know what's, I mean, we can look at the news and see what's happening. We're not stupid. We know what's up. But the power is in our hands to do something. So what do we want to do? Let's have this conversation and let's get together, because we can do something really cool to lift a lot of people out of poverty, to change a lot of hearts, you know, not just make money, but to make this place a better place to live. The power of music, I think, is going to be really key in how we approach the future.
I
Well,
believe
you know, as the song goes, everything must change, and it does.
That's right.
It has to. So the pandemic is causing a change for us to make money. Once we lost, I'm glad there were record companies, by the way, at one time. Now the musicians can make their own money because of technology.
Mm-hmm.
So I do see a change coming. I just don't know what it is. Plus, I'm not as energetic toward it as I used to be. I don't really have to be, but I'm looking for you young guys to
I love you, man.
John, it's 9 o'clock in a minute. You want to?
Yeah, well, yeah. I want to hear any last thoughts and anything that you guys are working on that you're excited about that you want to share with the folks, man, that might be tuning in.
Right now, change is happening right in front of our faces as we're having this conversation in this group meeting. The power has been given to us, individual musicians, taken away from the record companies. Now, each and every one of us, as you know, are record companies unto ourselves, owning, controlling, distributing. COVID has awakened us that we have to adapt to self-regulation, self-management, and distribution of our products and what we do. It gave us control because it's changed the industry because of the limitations it's put on everything. Every musician that's talented enough and knows enough of the inner workings of the industry got to take that information. It's going to be ground up building, but the way we're doing things now is everything is online, and we each and every person has been given a platform and a format to produce and distribute his own works and his own art. And that's something that the record companies had a hand on and a grip on all those years. They controlled us. They either hired us or didn't hire us. They paid us or didn't pay us. They put our music out or didn't put it out. They'll sign you for a record deal, put you on the show, and you're tied up for 5 years. We have control of our lives and our careers right now. It's going to be hard, and it is a little bit jump starting something and getting used to managing, which we've been doing all along, managing in a certain level as a side musician and as a support musician. But now we all side musicians have always had aspirations to be an artist themselves. I've always considered myself a drum artist. I'm a drummer who supports all the stars. But in my mind, from the young guy who grew up with aspiration, I say I want to be more than just a drummer. I want to be a drum artist. I may not be Phil Collins where I got my record deal and hit records, but I want to put out my own music. I want to play for others, but I also want to play some of my own music, I in my mind frame myself as a drum artist, not a drummer that plays for somebody else. When they hire me, we join a union of the brands. In my mind, in my heart and spirit, that's what I feel. I joined my brand with Michael's brand, with the Jackson brand, with Madonna's brand, Elton John's brand, and Stevie Wonder's brand. I always felt that inside. And now, with what's happening now, we're forced, all musicians are forced to reinvent themselves. And it's awakening even more so clarity for me that this is the sign that is everything I saw before, that we can do this. We don't have the machinery that the record labels have, but we have to some kind of way coordinate that or build that up ourselves, because record companies started from nothing at one point and it turned into something with a group of people that getting together and had this ideas, similar ideas, and formulated something. I think, in a sense, I'm looking forward to big people like Jay Z's and P Diddy's and who else? The other big artists like that. Why isn't there a coalition for musicians that pulls together and creates a distribution network for all of us, people who have been supporting the stars, the ones who have made it, reach back and they see every one of us that have worked and helped other major stars become major stars. We've all contributed to that, their success and their input and their presence in the industry. If I was one, I would reach back and say, man, Victor is so cold-blooded. He needs to have his own record. I need to be pushing him for real. He needs, I need to do that. So all the artists, should be. It's a chance for all of us to do that. But we don't look out for each other, and I think, in the sense that one makes it and then he's off on his own. I wish that they would see that to take control of the industry to benefit the musicians, the greater and grander musicians have to come together to build something new, because everybody complains about the labels taking advantage of us, complains about how they're using us, how they don't want to pay us, how they don't want to promote us, and we've cast it aside. There is no Hall of Fame for support musicians. We'll never be inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as a support. There's no category support musician, support drummer, no category support bassist, no category support guitarist. There's no Grammy for us. We're used and cast aside. Oh, thank you very much. But our talents are great enough to make these other people great and memorable and historic and icons. But there's no recognition, as I'm trying to say, for what we really do on the levels that we do it on, that helps those grand stars become grand stars. And all love and respect to all the grand stars. But there's grand stars within every one of their band, all of them, every position. But we get overlooked and casted aside and not celebrated for what we contributed, or not honored, not respected. There should be a category for people who have contributed as much as we have done to the making of the stars. The stars have the tremendous talents and gifts all their own, but they didn't do it by themselves. They needed us to make those records pop, make those records really have melody and sing and make them memorable. And on stage, they needed us for our intensity, our energy, our live contribution, our spirit flow that flowed with their spirit, that translated to the audience and brought them to life. And they fed us energy, we fed them in more energy. And it's a loop of cycle of energy and love and appreciation of this gift we call music. And I think now is the time for reinvention. If we can get enough people together, or like me individually, I'm going to do it on my own. I'm sure all of us are trying out our projects, but it's a chance for you to own it, because you can, with the platform of this internet and technology, we can distribute our stuff on our own. The hard part about it is, it makes it so difficult, is that getting the young people to respect the value of our worth and what we contribute and what we do, because we spend a lot of time creating a gift for the people, the audience to hear and appreciate and feel us and feel the song. We spend a lot of time and a lot of money producing our records, creating our babies and giving it to them with love. But right now with the new generations and knowing that it's accessible and available, they just take it and share it around. And that's hurtful to us, because like we were all talking about with this money thing, we human beings, we have to make a living too. No matter what level you're on, you got to make a living too. You got to continue making a living to be successful, to thrive, to pay your bills, we're human beings. We're in the life cycle. But these fans, they love you, but they don't want to put the money where their mouth is. They just feel that they're owed it because it's available. And I wish that there would be a change in mentality, that they will see that we pour our lives into this work. We to give them something that they can appreciate, to enlighten them, to lift their spirits, to inspire them. We pour our lives and our money into it, and it should be more than just grabbing it and then sharing with all your friends and leaving us with nothing but bills for all the studio time I spent. I had to pay, and that money's gone. And wait a minute, nobody's buying my stuff, and nobody's support my merchandising. Nobody's supporting me in the ways that they always say they love me. You're the best. You know, I want you. You're my biggest fans. But none of them are buying, contributing to the support of what we do. And I've been the last couple of interviews I've been saying, coming out and saying just that, no, not demanding or getting angry or stuff like that, but I appeal to the young generations. You say you're our fans so much, and yet all of them say you're greatest fan. I'm your greatest fan. You get that everywhere, and we love you and we support you, but you don't help us by support us by buying our music. You basically steal it and swipe it, and that's not cool. And I'm just trying to wake them up to see that when they get up, grow up, and if they are into a gifted position like this, and they need to make a living, and it happens to them, they'll understand where we are and what they did to us and our livelihoods by taking everything for free. Just because we put it out there doesn't have a big sign on it say for free. We put it out there for you to enjoy, but we hope that you would contribute by giving value to it, purchasing whatever. $1 is nothing. $1.30, which I some of my music was nothing, really nothing. But you say you're my fan, but you're not supporting me. To make more music that gives me an opportunity to make more music. So I'm just trying to wake the younger generations who are used to, since Napster came along and opened up everything, to just grabbing thing what they want. It's free, I'll take it. It's coming into my home through the network. So why can't I just take it? But it's not a really good thing to do, out of respect for people who love you and putting music out. We put music out because we love, love, love what we do. It is not just what we do, it is who we are as a human being. Music and drumming is who I am as a spiritual human being. And I do it for that reason, but I also do it for the appreciation from the fans and that they appreciate what I do. But I also I have bills and things to take care of too. So I would hope that there's a mindset that would change and that they come to appreciate us more than they words they tell us out of their mouths or they type on the computer screen. And just support us, a little support. Our songs don't cost $100 each, $1,000 each. The minimum amount of money that it is. If you can just do that, to say it tells me more that you love me and you love what I do, because you bought my song, you invested in me. So that means I can do more for you down the future. I can take that money and do new records and new albums. So I just want to, for my end, just wake people up to say, hey, you appreciate what we do. We're giving you love through our music. We're communicating with you. We're giving you awakenings to mindsets and opening your ideas as open spirit things, whether it's message music, whether it's spiritual music, dance music. All of that opens up the spirits and hearts and minds of the fans and the people that receive it, enjoy it, and just give us a little support and help, because the industry has changed and it's not like it was before. And it's, in a way, it kind of let us down as side musicians, support musicians, because the stars made out great in the decades that it was. But here we are, like I said, there's no greatest side musician award, no Rock and Roll Hall of Fame category, no Grammy category for support musicians of all these super talented musicians that we are, all stardom quality. And sometimes I feel a little bit, in that respect, a little bit unappreciated, because the industry doesn't recognize us. And I feel that there should be a change in that. And I think there should be a committee in the Grammys, a committee in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the top support musicians. There should be categories, to say, hey, We look at you guys. We see you guys. We know what you did. We know what you're still doing. And you make these stars that are all nominated and win their way into the Hall of Fame. You make them or put them in a position to be that. Your music and your talent lifted them up. That they are inducted.
Wow.
But then, I feel cast aside a lot of times,
Hmm.
And I gave my heart, my soul, and every ounce of my talent, creativity to help them when I'm on stage with one of them stars. I know that I'm supporting them, and that's okay. I love being a member, a part of something. I like that more than just doing drum solos all every 10 minutes. I don't get
Definitely.
gratification out there. I can do it, but that's my gratification comes with my soul communicate with Chuck's soul, communicate with Victor's soul, communicate with your soul on stage as a collective, cohesive soul,
Yeah.
body of soul, and then relating that body of soul to the audience, and that's the greatest gratification you can ever have and dream to have as a human being.
Yeah.
Relationships, it's called relationships.
Right. Right.
Relationships of the spirit and the soul. But I think that we deserve a bit more. We need a little spotlight. I'm sorry, I'm gonna be greedy. I want some spotlight. We need some spotlight on us. They'll never give us a spotlight in the industry.
We're gonna throw some on you. We're gonna throw some on. Where,
all of us. Come help me out here.
Yeah, where do people find you then to support?
You guys need spotlight too, because you contribute tremendous mainstay of the industry members, and you should be recognized for that. There should be categories for what we do, and the love that we've shown to the people we've supported, that there's categories for them. What do you guys think?
Definitely.
I love that idea. Yeah. I'm glad to bring that up at least to the Grammys and the Hall of Fame places. Yeah, you're absolutely right. There should be some kind of category, and it shouldn't be just an honorary Grammy. It should be a real one, because you've put in the work. Yeah, I like that.
There's no star on the Walk of Fame in Hollywood for any one of us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's none. There's no category for that. So we never walk on. I never get to walk on my name on a sidewalk.
That's trippy, right?
Now, what's your website where we can find more about you and your music and all that?
Oh, my website. My fiance Mara handles my website, and she does more than I even know that she does, because I don't even know it on my site. She knows all the information. I have to refer to her. Baby, what's my website? You changed it a few times. Huh? Oh, Sugarfoot.online. She just changed the name. That's why she changed it 2 or 3 times in the past year. So now it's SugarfootOnline.com.
All right.
Wait, what? Oh, Sugarfoot.online. It used to be Jonathan Moffett.world, and then it went Sugarfoot.online.com. So she's into marketing. She's from Silicon Valley, so my sites are doing quite well, all of them, because of her, the grace of her, my fiance, and she handles all my social media stuff, but she's changing things a lot of times, and I got to catch up. And I'm explaining.
I'll make sure to put your Instagram thing and your website link at the end of the thing. And what about you, Victor, man? All right, but Jonathan, first of all, thanks again, man.
You're very welcome. It's a pleasure. I apologize for the delay.
No.
I got to deal with that part, that stuff with the insurance and all that stuff later.
No. You got to do what you got to do, bro.
Delayed me. I apologize to you guys. Thank you for understanding.
Yeah, man. Victor.
Yes, sir.
Any final words of wisdom or thoughts?
Yeah, a lot has been said. I just hope that people will listen to it, take notes, so that you can remember and make use of all this information. Between the 4 of us, there's a lot of experience, a lot of years, a lot of talent. We don't have all the answers, but we do maybe have some. And we've given of our time for other people. So we hope that they make the most of it. As Jonathan said, we are the record label these days, but we're also the TV station.
Yeah.
We have that power too. We're broadcasting right now.
Yes.
So there is a lot of power that we have. It's just how we use it, and what are we using it for? What are you doing that's worth me paying for? So for my mom and for me, it starts with having something to offer. And as Chuck says, when Chuck gets called on a session, it's because of who he is, right? And just to add one thing, I want everyone, because to realize we talk about getting rid of the ego a lot, but I'm going to challenge that one a little, and I disagree with that. But what the part we want to disagree is the part of the ego that says mine is better than yours.
Yeah, I don't
But
like that.
if you look up the word ego, it just means a sense of self. It means that I've got a fingerprint you don't have. And that's not ego, that's the truth.
Mhm.
I've got something you don't have, right? So a sense of who you are is why Jonathan Moffett gets called all the time. It's because he has something someone else doesn't have. Better or not, now is personal choice. But the truth is, he got something that if I get on the drums, it ain't there.
Mm.
Right? Even if another good drummer gets on the phone, they don't have what Jonathan has. That's ego. That's a sense of self, right? And we never want to get rid of that. We never want to, because there's so many people who don't love themselves, don't think they're good enough. And you are. Just the fact that you were born means you have something that's never been here and will never be here again.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the part of the ego we want to grasp onto. But as soon as mine has to be more than yours, at that point, we've crossed the line. And that's the part of the ego most of us talk about. I just want to throw that out. But, the best way to find me is my website, victorwooten.com. That will connect you to my Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Everything that I'm doing is there. I'm still running music camps. We did them this year in 2020. We did them online. But I'm going to do a few more online before the year's up. But people can find out all sorts of things of what I'm doing. I have a new book coming out early in the next year called The Spirit of Music. It is the sequel to the book that I have out now called The Music Lesson. And if you listen to the audio version of that book, you'll hear Chuck's voice, because the book is a novel about a teacher and a student. And so there's different characters and things, but it's teaching music through stories. And Chuck is the voice of and was my model for a great wise older man named Uncle Clyde. And we're just about to start the second book, and there'll be an audio version for that. And I'm hoping Chuck will read again.
Cool.
But all kinds of fun stuff. I wrote a second concerto for electric bass and orchestra. It's delayed. Fortunately for me, it's delayed a year. It was supposed to have been debuted in May,
Right.
which I'm so glad. The quarantine blessed me because I wasn't ready to perform it.
Mm.
But now I'll be ready next May. So, there's always fun stuff. Life is interesting, Life doesn't stand still, and neither do we as long as we're alive. So there's always something. Everybody has a story to tell. I'm just taking the time to put mine out there and telling some of it. And I love people. I love to talk to people. So, on all my sites, you can message me, and I do my best to answer back. And I'm just happy to be here with you great people. I'm totally honored, and I'm happy that life has allowed us to be here at the same time and share our love of music. And it's more than just love of music. We love giving our music to people. We love giving our talent to people and making people happy with what we do. Again, that's the highest service, when we do what we love for other people.
Yeah.
So I appreciate it. But I'm a musician without you. I have a career as a musician because of you. So I appreciate every fan, friend, whatever you want to call yourselves. Thank you for supporting us. We really appreciate it. And thank you, John and Chuck, for having me here.
Thank you. Thanks for hanging out right with us.
Well, I'm still around, still loving music. And Jonathan, it's great to talk with you, man. I enjoyed hearing what you said. And Victor, it's always a pleasure.
Thank you, Chuck.
Tell the family I said hey.
You know it.
And John, I know I'll be seeing you tomorrow morning.
Yes, sir.
So it's been such a pleasure. Such a pleasure. I thank you both for joining us.
I look forward to getting a chance to work with all of you.
Yeah, me too.
You're a great, wonderful project.
Oh, yeah.
Really share the spirit. Make some new language, write some new language together.
All right,
Oh,
all
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Wow, this is a great first Hanging Out Right, man. This is a great first one. Looking forward
Let's
to
make
doing
that
more.
happen. Let's make that happen.
we're gonna make sure you guys get celebrated, man. The stuff that Chuck and Jonathan, the stuff you guys have done needs to be celebrated. So we're gonna start working on that right away.
Yeah, yeah. I'm a voting member of the Grammys. I know Chuck, you used to be a governor for the Grammys, so come on, man. We can make this happen.
We can.
Yeah.
We can.
We just put it out there, so we're gonna make that happen. Now that it's been verbalized, I think that's gonna materialize.
Absolutely.
How many forgotten ones of us that's lost and gone, never celebrated, and never realized for the contributions, and there's too many lost experiences. People have already left this world, never been celebrated, never been acknowledged in the fullest way. So I think it'd be a wonderful thing if we can begin to do that. Reach back and acknowledge them, and acknowledge all of us who are still carrying the torch and still doing it in service to others. We're all in service to each other and one another, in service to the people that we support on stage and then on the record. It's all about service. Life is about service, and everybody's life is a movie being played out real time. Everybody living their movie out. The movie can be made on every single individual's life on earth ever born, and you could have a hit movie, because so many things happening during the course of everyone's life who ever been born. So it's a wonderful thing, and we right now this portion of our movie right here in this experience is gonna be in my movie, and then your movie.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. Thanks, Jonathan. Thank you, Chuck. Thank you, Victor. Love you guys.
Thank you so much.
That's very good.
We'll see you next time. Hanging Out Right.
Let's be in touch soon, you guys.
Definitely.
Hanging out right.
Peace out.
God bless you guys.
God bless.
Oh, you hanging out right. Hanging out right. Oh, you hanging out right. I know hanging out right is a street smart game to be or not be the rules of this thing. Keep your eyes open and do your thing, and keep your ears open and be ready to sing. It does not matter how you walk or dress, or how hard or firm you actually press the flesh. Keeping a smile is great. Oh yeah.